actors and actresses in the audience, they looked terrified at the idea of you mentioning their name. Did you feel that?
I did, and I noticed it the first time. I didn't get it. Like, one of the first one I did it, people would come up and say, what are you going to say about me? I think, why do you care? I only go after their public behaviour. Who do I pander to? The 200 richest people in the room, or the 200 million people watching at home who aren't winning awards, who aren't millionaires. All that stuff I said in the show was true. I said, oh, I'm going to write my own jokes. Right? And I thought, who do I pander to? The 200 richest people in the room, or the 200 million people watching at home.
From the very beginning, don't talk to Ellen, don't do this, you can't, go into her office. It was very nerve-wracking, very stressful. We all walked on eggshells all the time.
Larry King asked her, and Kelly and I were in bed watching it, and he asked her, whatever happened to Rosie O'Donnell? Her show went down the tubes. And Ellen said, I don't know, Rosie. We're not friends. And that was like one of the most painful things that ever happened to me in show business in my life.
A source close to Ellen and her wife, Portia de Rossi, told The Wrap that the couple has placed their Montecito home on the market and have decided to relocate to the Cotswolds in England due to the political climate in the United States.
Ricky Gervais wasn't joking anymore, and people in Hollywood knew it. Every time he walked onto the Golden Globe stage, the cameras would cut to actors laughing nervously, publicists whispering at tables, and celebrities looking genuinely uncomfortable the second Ricky started mentioning certain names. But according to viewers watching those moments back now, the tension wasn't really about comedy. It was fear. Real fear. Because Ricky Gervais kept saying things publicly that Hollywood's most powerful people desperately wanted kept quiet. And now, years later, people online believe one of his biggest warnings may have been aimed directly at Ellen DeGeneres. The same Ellen who spent nearly 2 decades telling America to be kind. The same Ellen who danced into millions of homes every afternoon smiling beside celebrities, billionaires, and powerful industry figures. But behind that image, stories kept surfacing that painted a very different picture. Toxic workplace allegations. Former employees calling her phony and a hypocrite. Celebrity insiders quietly admitting her behavior was supposedly an open secret for years. And according to growing discussions online, that may have only been the surface layer of a much darker story. Because once the Epstein files started resurfacing publicly, viewers noticed something that immediately changed the conversation. Ellen's name allegedly appeared inside the broader records connected to Jeffrey Epstein's network. At the same time, her longtime friendship with Diddy started getting re-examined after his legal downfall exploded into headlines. Suddenly, people online weren't just talking about Ellen's public image anymore. They were questioning the elite circles she spent years inside. Then Ricky Gervais' old Golden Globe speeches started going viral again. And honestly, watching them back now feels different. Because viewers believe Ricky wasn't simply roasting celebrities for entertainment. They think he was warning audiences that Hollywood's most powerful people knew far more than they ever admitted publicly. Every joke about Epstein. Every jab about corrupt elites. Every uncomfortable silence from the audience suddenly started feeling much darker in hindsight. And according to many people online, the scariest part is this. Ricky Gervais may have seen the cracks forming in Hollywood's image long before the public realized how deep those connections allegedly went. Long before the Epstein files became one of the biggest discussions on the internet, Ricky Gervais was already standing in front of Hollywood's most powerful people making jokes that made the entire room uncomfortable. And according to many viewers online, that discomfort never looked normal. It wasn't the reaction of celebrities being lightly roasted for fun. People watching those old Golden Globes clips back now say the audience looked genuinely nervous every time Ricky started moving towards certain topics. That's what makes those moments feel so different today. Because Ricky himself later admitted he noticed the fear. He said celebrities would come up to him beforehand asking what he planned to say about them, which confused him because, according to Ricky, he only joked about people's public behavior. But online viewers now keep asking the same question. If Hollywood elites truly had nothing to hide, why did they seem so terrified every time Ricky stepped on stage? And honestly, that tension reached another level when Ricky started mentioning Jeffrey Epstein publicly. Back in 2020, during what many people now consider one of the most uncomfortable award show monologues ever aired, Ricky openly referenced Epstein in front of a room filled with celebrities, executives, producers, and powerful industry figures. The audience reaction immediately changed. Laughter disappeared. Cameras started cutting away quickly. And according to viewers revisiting the footage today, the silence in that room felt heavier than any joke Ricky actually told. That moment completely changed how many people online viewed Ricky Gervais afterward. Because audiences started believing he wasn't just mocking Hollywood anymore. They believed he was exposing something deeper about the entertainment industry itself. A culture where powerful people allegedly protected each other through silence, public image management, and carefully controlled narratives. And according to many viewers online, Ricky understood exactly how scared those people were of certain conversations becoming public. Then another detail started resurfacing online. People began connecting Ricky's warnings to Ellen DeGeneres specifically. At first, that connection sounded strange to some viewers. Ellen had spent nearly 2 decades building one of the cleanest public images in entertainment. Be Kind became her entire brand. She danced with celebrities, gave away gifts, cried with guests, and positioned herself as America's daytime sweetheart. But behind the scenes, former employees later described a completely different environment. Toxic workplace allegations exploded publicly in 2020, with multiple workers accusing Ellen's show of operating through fear, humiliation, and intimidation behind the cameras. And suddenly, Ricky's old speeches started looking very different in hindsight. Because viewers online realized Ricky constantly targeted one specific thing about Hollywood: hypocrisy. Public images that allegedly hid darker realities behind closed doors. Powerful celebrities selling kindness publicly while rumors, fear, and silence allegedly followed them privately. And once Ellen's workplace scandal became public, many people online started revisiting Ricky's Golden Globes moments, believing he may have been indirectly warning audiences about people exactly like her all along. At the same time, Ellen's longtime friendships with figures like Diddy and her alleged appearance inside broader Epstein-related records pushed internet speculation even further. Suddenly, people weren't just discussing Ellen as a talk show host anymore. They were discussing her place inside elite celebrity circles connected to some of the most controversial names in entertainment history. And according to many viewers online, that's when Ricky Gervais stopped looking like a comedian making edgy jokes and started looking like someone who saw Hollywood's image collapsing long before the public fully realized what was happening behind the scenes. For nearly 20 years, Ellen DeGeneres built one of the most powerful public images in entertainment. Every afternoon, millions of people watched her dance across the stage, smiling, hugging guests, surprising strangers with gifts, and repeating the same message over and over again: be kind. That phrase became more than a slogan. It became an entire brand worth millions of dollars. Merchandise, interviews, charity campaigns, celebrity friendships. Ellen convinced America she represented kindness itself. But according to people who worked behind the scenes, the reality allegedly looked completely different. In 2020, everything started collapsing publicly when dozens of former employees came forward describing what they called a toxic workplace environment hidden underneath the cheerful daytime image. Staff members claimed people walked on eggshells around Ellen for years. Others described an atmosphere built on fear, intimidation, and silence. And one former producer said something that instantly went viral online because of how brutally direct it sounded: phony, hypocrite, liar. That single moment changed how audiences viewed Ellen almost overnight. Because suddenly, people started questioning whether the Be Kind image was ever real at all. Former employees claimed everyone inside the industry allegedly already knew Ellen behaved differently behind closed doors, but nobody wanted to speak publicly because Hollywood protects powerful people until protecting them becomes impossible. And, honestly, according to viewers online, that idea connects directly to the exact kind of hypocrisy Ricky Gervais had been mocking on stage for years. Then things became even darker. As Ellen's public image started collapsing, people online began re-examining her friendships and celebrity connections much more aggressively. Her longtime public friendship with Diddy suddenly came under heavy attention after his legal downfall exploded into headlines. Old clips of Ellen joking with him on her show resurfaced everywhere online. At the same time, internet discussions started spreading around reports that Ellen's name allegedly appeared inside broader Epstein-related records released publicly years later. That combination completely changed the conversation. Now viewers weren't just discussing a toxic talk show environment anymore. They were questioning Ellen's place inside elite Hollywood circles connected socially to some of the most controversial figures in entertainment. And according to many people online, this is where Ricky Gervais' old Golden Globes speeches suddenly started feeling almost prophetic. Because Ricky constantly targeted celebrities who publicly sold morality while privately operating inside questionable power structures. He mocked fake activism, fake kindness, fake outrage. And once Ellen's image began falling apart publicly, audiences started revisiting Ricky's jokes, believing he may have been warning people about Hollywood hypocrisy long before the public was ready to listen. Then another uncomfortable detail resurfaced online. Multiple celebrities, including Dakota Johnson and others, later publicly hinted that Ellen's off-camera behavior was allegedly already an open secret throughout Hollywood for years. That made internet users ask an even bigger question. If so many people already knew, why did nobody say anything publicly earlier? And honestly, that question may be the real reason this story keeps growing. Because people online no longer believe Hollywood's biggest problem is just individual celebrities behaving badly. They believe the industry itself protects powerful figures through silence until public pressure becomes too large to ignore. And according to many viewers revisiting Ricky Gervais' speeches today, that's exactly the system he was trying to expose every time he stepped on that stage, making powerful people visibly uncomfortable. The moment Ellen DeGeneres' name started getting linked publicly to broader Epstein-related records, the internet immediately shifted into another level of suspicion. And according to many viewers online, this wasn't because people believed Ellen had suddenly been proven guilty of crimes. It was because audiences had already lost trust in Hollywood's elite image by that point. So once Ellen's connections to controversial figures started resurfacing all at the same time, people began looking at her entire career differently. And honestly, timing played a huge role in why the story exploded. First came the workplace scandal that damaged Ellen's public image. Then came the end of her show after nearly 2 decades on television. Then Diddy's legal downfall exploded into headlines. Then the Epstein discussions resurfaced again publicly. And according to viewers online, the more those events stacked together, the harder it became for people to view Ellen's celebrity friendships as harmless Hollywood networking anymore. One detail especially caught people's attention online. Ellen and Diddy had been publicly close for years. He appeared on her show multiple times. They joked together on camera. Old clips resurfaced everywhere after Diddy's legal issues became international headlines, and viewers immediately started re-examining those interactions differently. Suddenly, audiences weren't watching those moments as fun celebrity interviews anymore. They were watching them through the lens of everything that came later. At the same time, discussions around Ellen's alleged appearance inside broader Epstein-related records pushed the internet even deeper into speculation. According to reports discussed online, Ellen's name allegedly appeared among hundreds of high-profile individuals referenced across investigative materials, communications, and broader records connected to Epstein's network. Her representatives reportedly argued that context matters and that appearing inside large document collections does not automatically imply wrongdoing. But online audiences weren't calming down anymore. Because by that point, people had already started asking a much bigger question. How many powerful celebrities remained socially connected to controversial figures for years while publicly presenting completely different images to audiences at home? That's the exact reason Ricky Gervais' old speeches suddenly started going viral again. Viewers online believed Ricky had spent years indirectly exposing how Hollywood protects itself through image management, silence, and carefully controlled narratives. Every time he mocked fake morality or uncomfortable celebrity hypocrisy on stage, people now believe he was pointing toward a much darker reality behind elite entertainment culture. And once Ellen's name became linked publicly to both Diddy discussions and Epstein-related conversations, Ricky's warnings suddenly felt much more serious in hindsight. Then another strange detail started fueling internet theories even further. After Ellen's show ended and public scrutiny intensified, she and Portia reportedly began selling off expensive properties and eventually relocated to the English countryside. Official explanations focused on lifestyle changes and political frustration in America. But many viewers online immediately became suspicious because reports claimed the move had allegedly been planned before some of those public explanations were ever given. That detail alone exploded across social media. TikTok creators started pushing theories that Hollywood elites were quietly preparing for future Epstein document releases behind the scenes. Reddit discussions turned into full investigations analyzing celebrity property sales, public silence, and sudden lifestyle changes among powerful entertainment figures. And according to many viewers online, Ellen leaving America while these discussions kept growing publicly only made the situation look even stranger. At the same time, defenders of Ellen strongly argued the internet was spiraling into conspiracy thinking without enough hard evidence. They pointed out that celebrity associations do not automatically equal criminal involvement. But critics pushed back hard by saying trust in elite Hollywood culture has already collapsed too much for audiences to simply ignore these connections anymore. And honestly, that tension is exactly why the story keeps getting bigger. Because now people aren't just debating Ellen herself. They're debating whether Hollywood spent decades protecting powerful celebrities while carefully controlling what the public was allowed to see behind the scenes. As Ellen DeGeneres' public image kept collapsing, another part of the story started making people online deeply uncomfortable. Because according to many viewers following everything closely, it wasn't just the workplace scandal, the Epstein discussions, or the resurfaced Diddy connections anymore. People began focusing on something darker, the tragic deaths of two people closely connected to Ellen shortly after her show ended. And honestly, this is where internet speculation really exploded. First came Hetchy. And Ellen had one of the most talked about celebrity relationships in America during the late 1990s. Years later, and openly admitted that going public with the relationship allegedly damaged her career badly inside Hollywood. Then in 2022, reports started circulating online claiming and had allegedly been developing a project connected to her experiences and past relationship before her sudden car crash shocked the public. The footage from the crash spread everywhere online. People watched and being pulled from the wreckage alive before later being declared brain dead days afterward. Officially, the case was ruled accidental. But according to many viewers online, the timeline, the footage, and the rumors surrounding what and may allegedly have been working on created endless internet speculation almost immediately. Then only months later, another tragedy happened. Stephen Twitch Boss, Ellen's longtime DJ and executive producer, was found dead in a motel room in December 2022. Officially, his death was ruled suicide. His family publicly said they never saw signs something was wrong. His grandfather reportedly said Twitch sounded normal shortly before his death. And according to online discussions, the suddenness of the situation left many viewers confused and emotionally shaken. But what pushed internet theories into another level was what happened afterward. In 2025, Twitch's widow publicly revealed she later discovered hidden drugs inside their home and believed he had secretly been struggling with issues she never fully knew about. Around the same time, older reports resurfaced claiming Ellen allegedly pressured Twitch during her workplace scandal to publicly defend her and reassure audiences everything behind the scenes was fine. Whether related or not, internet users immediately started connecting those details emotionally. And according to many viewers online, this is where Ricky Gervais' warnings suddenly started feeling much darker in hindsight. Because people believe Ricky wasn't simply mocking celebrities for laughs. They think he understood how carefully Hollywood protects public images while uncomfortable realities allegedly stay hidden behind closed doors. And once audiences started connecting Ellen's toxic workplace scandal, her celebrity friendships, the resurfaced Epstein discussions, and these tragic deaths together, the internet began viewing the entire situation through a much darker lens. Then Rosie O'Donnell entered the conversation again. Rosie had known Ellen for decades before publicly admitting their friendship collapsed years earlier after Ellen distanced herself publicly on television. Later, Rosie began making comments online criticizing celebrity culture and even posted Jeffrey Epstein's image alongside messages discussing corruption and powerful elites. That immediately fueled internet theories that Rosie may allegedly know far more about Ellen's private world than the public realizes. At the same time, critics warned people not to turn tragic deaths into conspiracy theories without evidence. They argued internet culture was dangerously combining unrelated events into one giant narrative driven by suspicion instead of facts. But supporters of the theories pushed back by saying Hollywood has already hidden too many things successfully for audiences to blindly trust official explanations anymore. And honestly, that's exactly why this story keeps getting bigger online. Because every resurfaced detail creates another layer of suspicion. Every old interview gets re-examined differently. Every silence from powerful celebrities feels more intentional now. And according to many viewers revisiting Ricky Gervais' speeches today, they believe he may have understood years ago that Hollywood's carefully controlled image was eventually going to start collapsing under the weight of its own secrets. Out of all the people connected to Ellen DeGeneres over the years, many viewers online believe Rosie O'Donnell may be one of the most important names in this entire story. Because unlike most Hollywood celebrities who only knew Ellen during her peak fame years, Rosie knew her before the billion-dollar brand, before the private celebrity circles, and before the Be Kind empire completely transformed Ellen's public image. And according to online discussions, that history matters a lot. Rosie and Ellen were reportedly real friends for years. The kind of friendship built before Hollywood politics and elite celebrity culture fully take over someone's life. But then something changed. During an interview years ago, Ellen publicly claimed she and Rosie were no longer friends, and Rosie later admitted the moment deeply hurt her personally. To many viewers revisiting that interview now, it suddenly feels much bigger than a normal celebrity friendship ending. Because according to people online, Rosie allegedly watched Ellen slowly become part of elite Hollywood circles that operated very differently behind closed doors than they appeared publicly. And, honestly, this is where internet theories started exploding again. After Ellen's workplace scandal damaged her public image, Rosie began making comments criticizing celebrity culture, powerful elites, and the lies allegedly sold to the public by Hollywood for years. Then she made a move that immediately caught attention online. She relocated to Ireland and later posted Jeffrey Epstein's image alongside messages discussing corruption and powerful people. That single moment sent social media into detective mode instantly. TikTok creators started pushing theories that Rosie was indirectly warning audiences about Ellen's private world. Reddit users claimed Rosie's move outside Hollywood may have been symbolic, almost like someone distancing themselves from an industry they no longer trusted. And according to many viewers online, the fact Rosie publicly referenced Epstein at all while Ellen's name was already resurfacing inside broader Epstein-related discussions made the situation feel even stranger. Then people revisited old Rosie interviews differently. Viewers noticed how emotional Rosie sounded discussing Ellen years later. According to online discussions, many people now believe Rosie wasn't simply hurt by losing a friendship. They think she may have become disturbed by the kind of celebrity culture Ellen eventually became connected to behind the scenes. Whether that theory is true or exaggerated, it spread rapidly online because audiences already distrusted Hollywood elites by that point. At the same time, critics strongly argued people were reading far too much into Rosie's comments and social media activity. They warned that internet speculation often turns emotional moments into giant conspiracy narratives without real proof. But supporters of the theories pushed back by saying Hollywood has repeatedly proven that powerful people stay silent until public pressure forces uncomfortable truths into the open. And according to many viewers online, that's exactly what Ricky Gervais understood years ago. Because Ricky constantly mocked the way Hollywood protects itself publicly while hiding uncomfortable realities privately. Every time he joked about fake morality, corrupt elites, or celebrities pretending to care while protecting their own circles, audiences laughed. But now, watching those speeches back after the Ellen scandals, Diddy fallout, and Epstein discussions resurfaced publicly feels completely different. It feels less like comedy and more like a warning. Now many people online believe Rosie O'Donnell may have quietly seen the cracks in Ellen's image long before the public ever did. And with more Epstein-related discussions continuing to surface, viewers are starting to wonder whether Rosie knows even more about Hollywood's elite circles than she has ever openly said publicly. Right now, the biggest reason this story keeps growing is because people online believe Hollywood is entering another moment where old secrets, elite friendships, and carefully protected public images are starting to collapse all at once. And according to many viewers following the situation closely, Ricky Gervais may have recognized that years before most audiences did. Every time he stood on stage mocking Hollywood's hypocrisy, people laughed. But now, after the Ellen scandals, the Epstein discussions, and the downfall of powerful celebrity figures like Diddy, those same jokes suddenly feel much darker in hindsight. Because audiences are no longer watching celebrity culture the same way anymore. Years ago, people saw Hollywood as glamorous. Billionaire parties, private jets, luxury vacations, celebrity friendships, it all looked exciting from the outside. But after the Epstein scandal exploded publicly, viewers started questioning everything differently. Now every resurfaced photo creates suspicion. Every old celebrity friendship gets re-examined. Every silence from powerful figures feels intentional. And according to many people online, Ellen DeGeneres became one of the clearest examples of how fast a carefully managed public image can completely collapse once audiences stop trusting the system behind it. At the same time, internet discussions keep growing around the idea that many powerful Hollywood figures allegedly knew far more than they ever admitted publicly. That's the exact reason Ricky Gervais' speeches continue going viral years later. Viewers believe he was indirectly exposing how entertainment elites protect themselves through silence, PR management, and fear of losing access to powerful circles. Then there's the Epstein file issue itself. According to discussions online, many viewers remain convinced the public still hasn't seen the full picture connected to Epstein's network. Reports continue circulating that only part of the broader records became publicly accessible, while large sections allegedly remain sealed or heavily redacted. That detail alone keeps fueling endless speculation because audiences believe more celebrity names and elite connections could eventually resurface publicly later on. And honestly, that uncertainty is exactly what keeps Hollywood observers nervous. Because once public trust disappears, every powerful celebrity starts looking vulnerable. Carefully crafted reputations stop feeling untouchable. Expensive PR campaigns stop working the same way. Audiences begin focusing more on patterns, relationships, and hidden connections instead of polished interviews and public apologies. And according to many viewers online, Ellen leaving America, while all these conversations intensified publicly, only made people even more suspicious about what Hollywood insiders may allegedly know behind closed doors. Meanwhile, defenders of Ellen and other celebrities connected socially to controversial figures argue the internet has become dangerously obsessed with conspiracy thinking. They believe audiences are unfairly combining unrelated events into giant narratives built on suspicion rather than facts. But critics continue pushing back by saying Hollywood itself created this distrust after years of scandals where powerful people publicly claimed ignorance, while damaging information later continued surfacing anyway. And honestly, that's why this conversation refuses to disappear. Because to many viewers online, this story is no longer really about Ellen DeGeneres alone. It's about whether Hollywood's most powerful circles operated under a completely different set of rules hidden from the public for decades. It's about fake morality, elite protection systems, celebrity branding, and the growing belief that people like Ricky Gervais were trying to warn audiences about those cracks long before the public was fully ready to listen. And according to many people watching this unfold online right now, the scariest part isn't what's already public, it's the fear that much more may still be hidden behind the parts of the story nobody has seen yet. At this point, People online believe this story has become much bigger than Ellen DeGeneres alone. Between Ricky Gervais' old Golden Globe speeches, the toxic workplace allegations, the resurfaced Epstein discussions, and Ellen's longtime connections to controversial Hollywood figures like Diddy, audiences are now re-examining celebrity culture in a completely different way than before. And, honestly, the more old clips and reports resurface, the more viewers feel like Ricky may have been warning people about Hollywood hypocrisy years before the public fully understood what he meant. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think Ricky Gervais was genuinely exposing uncomfortable truths about Hollywood elites the entire time? Or do you think the internet is reading way too deeply into celebrity friendships and resurfaced connections? And what do you make of Ellen's situation specifically? Was the Be Kind image simply a fake public brand from the beginning? Or do you think Hollywood pressure changed her over time behind the scenes? Drop your thoughts in the comments because people online are completely divided right now. Some viewers believe this is another example of internet conspiracy culture spiraling too far, while others think Hollywood's biggest stars stayed protected for years through silence, money, and carefully controlled public images. And if you want more deep breakdowns on celebrity scandals, Hollywood power circles, Epstein-related discussions, and the stories mainstream media often avoids touching directly, make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because according to many people online, the biggest revelations connected to these elite circles may not even be public yet, and this conversation is only getting more intense from here.